Hello, valued TOO staff member. This is a small guide to learning some taunt scripting, specifically for the text interaction with puppets. And yeah, to me, this is quite simple. I think once you kind of get the hang of it, it's pretty simple to work it out and get started on doing that type of thing. So I guess the first thing I should do is, I guess I should have put pants on this guy, but it is what it is. Typically, you'll need to spawn the top puppet in via the cheat menu. Super easy to do. Just type it in right there, and you'll get one of these little potion things. You just plop them down anywhere you want. It doesn't really matter if you do. Just stand about here. Yeah, that seems good. You have two options here, really. The customize is just for aesthetics, but the edit is what we want to look at. So, just for reference, the internal name is a guide and a method of describing what your puppet is doing. This is critical to making a clean system, because if you have hundreds of no-named items, it's a nightmare. And you don't want that. The nameplate, super simple. It's just whatever their name is here is whatever is displayed in the world. When you're placing puppets, you do have a lot of options on the left. Now, a lot of the time, you don't really need to worry about too much. Emotes, probably the most useful thing. To explain the hot stuff a little bit, it's defaulted to male. If you invert the gender, it switches to the female. Some like animations or things have, some slight differences there. Anyway, so what you'll need to do is, let's say you want to create a text dialogue or some lore or something. That's what we're going to be doing. Now I've created this admin video helper. Normally you would go into the top menu. Ignore my favorites here. And you would navigate down to Taunt Admin and then Scripting. And when you're at this screen, you would want to click this little green plus, and this is what turns up. Alright, now, looks really, Matrix or whatever, but it's really not that scary. But I have got this slightly pre-made script that we're going to look at. Okay, so when you're wanting to create a node in Taunt, you just simply need to right-click and add node. Now, this part is normally very overwhelming in the fact that there is lots of nodes. But the good news is, since we're starting off small, we really only need to focus on the cinematic dialogues. Okay, and so you want to follow exactly the structure. You want to, since we're making a text dialogue, we want to start it with a, let me just clear that. We want to start it. So this is the NPC talking to the players, perspective. So, hello, valued TOO member. Okay, so this text, you do have a limit of 1,000 characters. That's great. The thinking time is, I guess the best way to describe it is a slight delay. So when you have it set at 0.0, the text is very snappy. So it's like, it just comes instantly. Whereas if you have the thinking time there, it kind of acts like there's like the NPCs kind of thinking about what's happening. It's mostly, from my perspective, it's just there for a little bit of flavor with how the conversation flows. So you can play with that number as much as you like. Probably don't set it too high, for obvious reasons. But yes. The next thing you want to do is create a answer group. And this is your response to said AI, what then creates branching dialogue or branching options, and that is somewhat infinite to what you want to do. As a personal tip for this type of stuff, start small and build on that smallness. Do not start large. You will thank me later. It gets very busy. You do have a limit of 200 nodes. What does get eaten up very quickly if you're not doing things efficiently. But for the sake of this video and for the goal that we're trying to achieve, we never have to worry about that. So let's go back to the scripting. So we have an answer dialogue here and an answer dialogue here. I've already kind of worked out what I want to show. So let's just say, you know, hello, NPC. Nice to meet you. And let's have one that's, you know, I don't like your face. Go away. Okay, so now we have like a positive and a negative response. So where this, as I say, it starts with the NPC and then it goes to the player responding. So this is where the player has the choice to do what you want. So let's go on the friendly side. We'll ignore the NPC name for just this moment, but we will circle back to that. Very nice to meet you. I am thankful for you working on the oh, what a lovely NPC. Okay, so now we're going into a different node called a simple pause answer. The way that this works is it gives the player a single answer, but they have to respond and click on it in order to proceed with the dialogue tree. It'll become more obvious when we go over and I show you the end product. I don't actually remember what I typed before. Nice to meet you. You are welcome. Okay. So then we go down to the negative tree. Okay, I don't like your face. Go away. That's very rude. Alright. So what'll happen here is when the player interacts, they will get this first. here, the send dialog, then goes into these answers where the player has to give a response. And then, depending on the response, we'll send them through this top tree or through this bottom tree. As you can see, I also have this upper node called a closed dialog. So what happens when this node is reached is it will pretty much kick the player out of the window that is on the left-hand side of the screen and make it go away. Now, the problem with setting a send dialog followed by a close dialog is this will get cut off very quickly because of how the scripting works. Whereas on this top one, if I put this close dialog here, and we do this, and we'll hook the cancel onto that, and we'll also put a close dialog on that cancel, and then we build. We will now go into the process of hooking it on, and then we can see what I was talking about with the scripting. So you want to come back to your puppet, go to the actions, on interact, and run script. Now the wonderful thing here is when we named our script, you're able to search and in this filter section, what makes life so much easier when you name things appropriately. Okay, so you click your thing, you click you're done, and you press E. And here's the dialog that turns up. Here's that first send message that we put into the script, followed by our answer group. We're going to go on the positive tree first. Okay, and there we go. There's our second send node, followed by our simple pause answer. Notice how the script is essentially not doing anything until I click, and then it kicks me out. Now if we repeat this process and go through the negative tree, if I click that, you notice how it kicks me out almost instantaneous without actually getting anywhere with the script. What is not the desired goal? So we're going to go jump back in, and we're going to put a different type of node, one that I would only recommend using for small durations. Do not go too crazy without testing, because I think with the way that the system works, it is quite volatile. And it's not very stable to use this type of node in long duration. We're going to add a 2-second delay to this text. And you'll see exactly why that is. But while we're here making some changes, we're going to quickly jump on to the NPC name here, okay? So this field is you don't have to name it the same as the name of the NPC, but it does have that nice flavor to it. Sometimes it's nice to be vague. It just depends on what type of information or story you're trying to portray. But we're gonna do a really quick thing with a variable here to maybe save you some time in the future, especially if you start making larger information things. It's a pain in the ass having to type helper or whatever their name is like 400 times. So what we're gonna do is we click on this blue box here. We're gonna start on this first one. Okay, and we see that we've already got an NPC name, but for the sake of this video, we're going to create new, and we're going to call it name NPC. Okay, just keep things nice and simple. Now, you're like, well, how does that know what the name of the NPC is? Does it? It's actually currently blank. Until you go up to this little tiny box, doesn't look like a box, but you go to this and you have what is called variables. What are these like items here? And you don't always want to have these filled in, but for the sake of the simplicity of this video, we're just gonna call him Mr. Helper. Okay. And once you type that in, that's it. You're set. I'm gonna just delete my previous one, so just Mr. Helper remains. And then when you go to these here, you'll notice that that one hasn't got it, but this one doesn't. So you select these like that. All of those now are Mr. Helper. So you can see how just doing a single thing in here could potentially save you so much time later with the scripting. And this can be applied to a lot of things within the system. It's no different than, like, let's say we wanted to expand on our answers here. We can actually click and drag, copy, and just paste. Okay, and then all you would need to do is just move these around a little bit. It's a little messy sometimes, but just simply do that. Do this. Now it's you doubled it very quickly. Now, of course, the issue here is that the information from the dialogue here is brought along with it, but I'm kind of just showing the ideas of what you can do. Doesn't always mean it's practical. That's up for the person to decide. But this looks a bit better. I think we'll talk to our naked Mr. Helper here. And as we see, Mr. Helper. Let's go on the positive tree. Make sure it's all working. Yep, that's all working fine. Right, now our negative tree. The one we had an issue with before. The delay. That delay just allows people that extra little bit of time to read. And that's critical in dealing with this. We're going to show another object that we can use in the world. Now this is called an interact. It's a little spear, blue spear. At the moment it seems like it's nothing. But when you interact with it, enable it, give it a name, admin, interact. Yep, good spelling. And put this test. Okay. And we're going to set this to the exact same script as we were just working on, just so you can see here. Okay, so this is set up, and if I interact with it, the same dialogue tree appears. Now you might be thinking, well, that seems really stupid. I don't really want to talk to a wall. That's where the creativity of having these types of things comes into play, where, well, maybe this is not a text dialogue, and maybe this is a leather, or, you know, and you need to pull it to turn the lights on or off, or fix something, or there's endless possibilities. And with the same kind of principles, you can make the code do what you want. Now, of course, I didn't show you every node. There's a lot to learn. It's definitely something that's a little time consuming, but I hope that this guide has helped. I know a lot of people are willing to help, and a lot of people are willing to learn. But I'm going to wrap that up. Yeah, thanks for watching, valued TOO staff member. Enjoy.